Hey everyone, in this video I'll be showcasing all the new legendary and pearlescent weapons that were added in Bounty Pack 4, alongside the free weapons that were also added in this update if you fight Subjugator or Radix, as well as the Ordnance processors. There's 2 new pearlescents and 1 new legendary for free players, as well as the 10 total new items that have been added in this latest DLC. So this includes bringing back weapons like the Kaos, which previously was a legendary and has been upgraded to a pearlescent in Borderlands 4. We also have things like the Pachonk Assault Rifle, as well as the PRISM Sniper Rifle, and the 3 weapons you can get for free are the Verce Shotgun here, Jacob's, pretty cool one, as well as the Pachonk and Kaos. I'm going to first start off with the Kaos. Now this weapon is now a new addition to Subjugator's loot pool, and Subjugator's a little bit easier to fight after the last couple updates, so it is worth going and trying to grind one of these. But I'll showcase this here against bosses I've shown in my previous videos. Basically what this does is when you kill an enemy, it does an explosion, dealing 5 times the weapon's card damage, and I'll be honest, it's not super powerful, but it does have a pretty large explosion radius. And it can also come with Torg and Jacob's rolls, and the highest possible damage is the 4,858 that I have here at level 60. And again, I'll show the cases against Corporal Brennan here, who's one of the easier ones to showcase these weapons against. And if you watch my other videos where I've broken down every single weapon in Borderlands 4, you'll know how these rank up against the other weapons that have been added in previous updates. But yeah, you can see there, pretty considerable amounts of damage. Its big effect though is whenever you take out targets, you have an explosion around them, and well, that 2,400 or 24,000 damage is not a crazy high amount. It is nice in things like the takedown where there's a large concentration of enemies, so you can get those really easy explosions to take out targets. But you see it here, it is pretty impactful, especially with the Torg roll on it. But the coolest feature about this weapon is it's a dataless, which is great because you don't see it here, but if you go and inspect, we can see we got a manufactured part here. So it can swap into any element or any type of ammunition, typically shotgun being the best. And here's an idea what the shotgun variant of it looks like. You can see there, it actually hits a whole lot harder because we're getting that multi-projectiles, which is great with certain builds like Harlow's where she can just get her infinite ammo back pretty quickly. So yeah, you saw it there. This weapon is actually pretty good. And I love that this is a weapon available to free players. So this is kind of like the Gomi in a sense. If you get the Gomi with the Ripper part, it hits hard, but honestly, I think this one is a little bit more powerful. And it's funny because this is more so considered like a mobbing style weapon due to the explosion. So you can get great value out of this in the newest takedown. Next up, we have another very interesting weapon, the Pachonk here, which this one drops from Radix. Now, it's got magic missiles for D&D fans. Basically, when you kill an enemy, it'll fire projectiles in a circle around them. It looks pretty cool, but whenever it hits a target, it increases your weapon damage by 25% for 5 seconds upon contact. Now, 5 seconds does not let you build up stacks very long, but what's cool about this is that it's going to be dealing damage to targets, but it can also deal damage to your own character, so you got to be careful with this one. And this is an Order assault rifle that acts a little different than you'd imagine. So to give you guys an idea, we'll just take out this target, and you saw those projectiles that fly out. If it hits a target, you're going to get a stack of it, which you can see beside the health bar there. But this weapon honestly hits quite hard, so you can see it here. It's actually doing considerable amounts of damage. And as mentioned, it's an Order weapon, but it fires fully automatic. So it does have a lot of cool features to it. It's mostly going to be a weapon that you'd want to use in a takedown as well. So it's nice to see them adding new pearlescent weapons that are great for the newest content. I could show it in the show. I just want to showcase these against bosses to give you the most consistent experience of these weapons here. But this is another one that you'd love to take to the takedown, much like the other pearlescent that added here. So this one's from Radix, this one's from Subjugator. They're worth grinding it out. And you can see here 23k DPS possible roll, 20k DPS on that one, and it says a 6.5k damage per attack. And one of my favorite features is that it can come with a Jacob's license part. And for our final free weapon, we have the Verce here, which comes from the Ordnance processor, same place you get the Shalashaska pistol from. Now, if you're a free player, I'd recommend checking out the rest of these weapons because there are some interesting ones here. But what the Verce does is the rapid infusement. 5% of the weapon damage heals energy shields, and a 10% chance to gain a 250% fire rate. Now, this thing does fire pretty quickly as a Jacob's, you can see there, it actually has a fast fire rate, but you can also get a ammo swap on it, which I think it might be a little bit bugged at the current moment. And then you also get, as a naturally Jacob's weapon, it got a 58% crit modifier on this version, and it shoots out 3 projectiles. But what I'm talking about is the shotgun variant here. It has a sound effect to it, but if you swap it to the SMG form, it doesn't really make a noise. Kind of weird. But this is what it looks like if you're in a fight there. So yeah, you restore your shields with that, which is kind of nice. And if you got an infinite ammo setup, that can be pretty solid as well. But the fire rate increase is kind of hard to tell because if you switch it to SMG, it gets a fire rate increase. And even at that point, it's you're still going to be firing as fast as you're able to pull the trigger here. So yeah, it can do some pretty considerable amounts of damage. For a free legendary weapon, that's honestly a pretty solid one here. I'll switch it back to the shotgun ammo here just because I do think the SMG does seem a little bit off with its abilities. But yeah, that's as fast as you're firing unless you get that 10% increased fire rate, which doesn't seem seem to trigger very often. But moving on to the vault card weapons, there's some cool ones here like the Divided Glow. So damage by the ricochet will take 50% increased radiation damage for 6 seconds that are inflicted with a radiation status effect. You know who this is good for? Red Skill Tree Harlow, which is actually cool. So this will give a dataless license part as well on this, as it's an order weapon. It is going to fire in a charged up burst. Now, my thoughts on this is if you like any type of order charge weapons, the Crow Source is going to be your best option. This can come with a Torg roll as well, which will give it a much higher DPS. We're looking at 22k here versus the 34k. And this version here has a little bit less damage on it, just depends on the rolls that you get from it, but honestly, interesting weapon. Radiation damage is one of my favorites in this game. But as mentioned, the downside is it's an order weapon, so even if you're going to use active fire, the damage is nowhere near where the Crow Source is, so I know a lot of people don't enjoy order weapons, myself included in that batch, so yeah, it's okay. But it is really just about the special feature that you got on the weapon that's going to buff up the radiation damage, so some of these could be good if you're like playing multiplayer, but yeah, this one you see here, if you're going to go for a weapon style like this, and you got the story pack, you may as well go grind out the Crow Source, even though it'll take you a fortnight to find it. It is still worth it. This is still not a bad weapon though. You see here the time to kill is much higher than the other weapons that we showcased today, so that's the only downside. But yeah, it depends if you like order weapons or not. We just recently got the cool Rhythm that was added in the last bounty pack, which is a pistol that deals cryo damage, which I think is a little bit better than this one here. So yeah. The biggest thing is the manufactured perk, which is a 99% chance to ricochet back weapons from guns. So that's where most of the benefits come from. So if you're playing with a friend and they're playing Red Harlow, this could be a cool option to go with here, because you can then charge this up and block some damage from it. And we lost our shield. Yeah, not always the greatest effects from the reflecting shields here. Hyperion has fallen off since Borderlands 2, unfortunately. But yeah, cool if you like a radiation build. Now the next weapon we got from the vault card is the Eradication. So on kill, fires an underbarrel projectile at up to 2 nearby targets to deal 150% damage. And you can see here the damage on it isn't like amazing by any means, but it is flat off, so it's cool. Torg license impact mag on this, as well as the grenade launcher underbarrel, which is 30k damage, and that's getting boosted up 150%. And you can also get a Jacob's roll on this. It does splash damage. And here's the big boom booms. Yeah, not like crazy amounts of damage, but for a Vladoff, it reminds me of the Wombo combo. So if you like that, this is another weapon that is somewhat similar to it. But yeah, you're gonna fire off away, and then you got your grenade launcher here, which does its grenade launcher thing. So certain builds that can utilize that well will have a fun time with this. But underbarrel lands 4, yeah. It is unfortunately not like fantastic on Rafa, who unfortunately caught a nerf the other day as well. So yeah, things are rough, but this weapon is okay. It's an interesting Vladoff style weapon. If you go with a Vladoff enhancement, this can boost it up even further, but fast fire rate, it's got that cool underbarrel, boom, boom, boom. So I'll fire those off once more, which will take us down this boss here. So I missed, unfortunate. I do like that it is an elemental weapon, so it can fit onto a lot of different builds. But yeah, Wombo combo still stays best. And next we got a sniper rifle from the bounty pack, or the vault card, with the stealth and seek. So this one here can come with a ammo swapper, so you can get a Jacobs, or you can get a shotgun part on it. You can also get a ripper part to be attached to this, and then you can also have it just regular old Maliwan, so you can swap elemental types. I like radiation and corrosive together. But what it'll do is it'll create additional projectiles that fire additional projectiles at nearby targets. It cannot target itself. The only downside to this is that those projectiles don't seem to really do much damage at all. And here's what we're working with. So you can get these projectiles that can catch on to the enemy there. And then you see that they got those projectiles shooting off at additional targets here. Here's the one that is a little bit higher damage, since we're not using the Torg impact on it. But yeah, the damage is not terrible here. If you can get an ammo swapper, this is really nice, because then it allows you to counter when enemies like this. And you see our damage potential is a lot higher this way. I always have a soft spot for Maliwan sniper rifles. This is a cool one for just like, if you're mobbing against a boss and you have a lot of additional targets, like the takedown, it is okay if you're using it against certain enemies that have a lot of health, because that'll allow you to hit the projectiles to hit many targets extra times, but not a very high damage weapon, but still a cool new option. And the last of the vault card here is the Pressure Kettle Grenade. Throws 5 divider grenades. Cooking the grenade will increase the damage it deals and reduces the number of projectiles that it'll toss out. Now, this is an interesting one. It does not seem to have any rolls other than like the grenade bonus. So like this one here, I got an additional charge of it, and it has a 455 centimeter radius. So with this weapon, you want to cook it. So you can hold it in your arms here, cook it, boom, get a little extra out of her. So yeah. This is nice if you have a setup that can use grenades well, but yeah, we don't really got that here. It doesn't, I'm not like, grenades are cool and all, but yeah, there's the 5 of them. Yeah, you're not going to build around this one. Kind of similar to the last ordnance that we got, like the artillery sphere. That one isn't like super amazing either, but yeah, I accidentally tossed it out there. You want to charge it up, but even then, you're wasting time that could have been done, you know, doing something else or focusing on another skill or something. So, womp womp, not good, really, unfortunately. Next, we got the Overconsumption TDR pistol here, which drops from Max Supreme from the Bounty Pack. Now, this one will come with a TDR always. It's shooting replicator legs. Toss it 2 guns with legs. It'll shoot at enemies until it's out of ammo. It can come with a ripper part on it as well, and it does have the possible elements on it. I got a radiation variation there. So with this one, TDR, depends if you like TDR or not. So you can go ahead here, toss it out, and you'll see that they'll run around with legs shooting at targets. So yeah, I would probably rather not have the TDR part if you just want to keep chucking this thing out so you can just fire off a shot and get it to go rip away at targets. But yeah, I'll just continually keep tossing these little puppies out here. You see the boss damage is not like super spectacular. It is taking on the weak enemies here, not too badly, but yeah, this one is okay. If we were to dump the entire clip, it does have a slow firing projectile here. Nothing super amazing, but cool for TDR fans. Yeah, that's really all I got for this one. Having the running legs is a fun option, but yeah, they're just not like high enough damage to warrant using them over other options when you got them available. And next we got the Plumb Bob. This drops from Skank Eye here. Now this one can come with Jacob's parts. It's naturally a ripper, and you can also get it with a dataless swapper Jacob's part. You can get a Maliwan swapper on it. So it does come with a lot of different roles. It's the highest possible DPS. It shoots off 3 projectiles there, and depending on what your setup is, I like to go with like the SMG variant of it here. Now the Plumb Bob is an interesting one because whenever you shoot it, you can see there, it like reflects around in a very interesting pattern. I'll swap this over to the SMG variant, which will have it shooting a little bit faster. So we'll just swap it here. And okay, this is a shotgun variant of it. The ammo swap does have a very long animation, so that is a little bit odd. But yeah, with this, you got bouncing around, so kind of similar to the Hard Dark from the last DLC. You can bounce this off of surfaces, which is kind of fun. And yeah, you can see it here doing an all right amount of damage. I like the Plumb Bob's name, and I like the projectile effects, but if you're playing on console, this may end up causing some lag here, just with the amount of projectiles that will be bouncing around on screen. And this weapon here, I'll showcase the highest damage roll of it. So yeah, it's one that's going to naturally reflect. So if you have a build that is like, I can see this actually being good with high caliber as well. So yeah, this one will be interesting for certain builds. I'm going to be further testing it out different setups here to see how powerful this thing truly is. But as it stands, a cool one. I like the difference in it. And we got a ripper shotgun that actually rips pretty hard. So that is nice too. Shotguns in this game are just by far the best type of weapon. But yeah, you see it here. It is a pretty solid one. Big reflections. Now, the last pearlescent that we have is the PRISM sniper rifle by Jacobs. Now, this has prismatic on it, which is a special ability that critical hits will trigger a bonus ricochet projectile. Bonus ricochet projectiles have a random element. For each consecutive crit, gain an additional bonus ricochet up to a cap of 5. This will always come with the Hyperion amp shield as well as the COV licensed magazine. Unfortunately, we got a few pearlescents recently that are always having the COV. Just seems to bring the weapons down compared to their potential, but this can have a crit modifier of 146%, so this is a crit focused weapon. And here's what it looks like. So it's a Jacobs, you're just going to fire that off fast. And having a lot of extra ricochets is quite nice, but that COV magazine makes it somewhat similar to some of the other weapons in this game. So things like the truck. But yeah, you can see it here. It's not too shabby. More so for mobbing because you get those extra ricochets here, especially if you got like an infinite crit style build. So you can continually keep getting more and more explosions off, or more and more ricochets to pop off against enemies. But yeah, as far as Jacobs sniper rifles go, if you want to play with the sniper rifle, use the Crow Source. It's just by far the best like single target damage weapon in the game. Hopefully we'll get an Order sniper rifle that lets us do some pretty high damage numbers, but right now as it stands, sniper rifles' highest damage builds are typically the ones that have the highest possible fire rate, using Vex's blood magic, or blood is power to add additional damage on top of it, bloodshot too. And yeah, snipers don't really hit that hard compared to some of the Borderlands in the past, but this is a cool one. I like the extra ricochets. Next up, we got the dataless pistol, the Silver Sliver. This on hit, enemies will take 1% more damage for 15 seconds, stacking up to 50 times. This makes it a great weapon for multiplayer because you can buff up your team. This also can come with a Jacob's part on it, and it's also a dataless weapon, so you can get a shotgun loader. You can also get a Maliwan swapper, which will remove that dataless swapper part, so depends on your preferred playstyle, but I do think that going with a shotgun swapper ends up being the true best, and this is what the shotgun swapper looks like. So yeah, you're buffing up your damage against the enemy, so you get upwards of 50% more damage. That can be quite nice, especially if you got like a good setup here that can give infinite ammo. And you see they're not a bad amount of damage, but yeah, we're just fighting the sliver of its health bar, and it does a sliver of damage. So the Silver Sliver is just a small amount of damage, unfortunately, but this is a great weapon for buffing up teammates. And the cool thing is you can use this and then swap to something like the Crow Source, and since it lasts for 15 seconds and it's on the target, it can actually buff up the damage of your other weapons as well. And this weapon, like the Prism, can both be gotten from Betamax, who's the final boss area of the DLC. Now, we did get a new heavy gun ordnance here, so just a little reminder that heavy ordnances also take gun damage buffs as they do ordnance damage buffs. Now, this one here is cool because it is a rocket launcher with a large radius of 600 centimeters. And it is just a straight up rocket launcher. Torg is known for putting out good heavy ordnances here. So yeah, there we go. Pretty good amount of damage here. And you can see we got a condition going on there that was doing a good amount of damage. So yeah, this thing hits really hard. And the fact that this heavy ordnance is so powerful just makes things like Amon even stronger, and probably solidifies him in the third strongest placement now, because you have many options for heavy ordnances here, and this one's just an insane one. It looks like it does some damage over times, even without any elemental rolls on it. 40k DPS. With things like the Dropner, now the Loiter Sploiter, we have a lot of very powerful heavy ordnances, including things like the Heimdall in Story Pack 1. We'll have to see if Story Pack 2 in September adds any more heavy ordnances, but I think it's safe to say that Amon is probably the third best Vault Hunter at this point, just having so many great options, and he is the heavy ordnance fella. Now, you can get this weapon from Infamous Dave in Bounty Pack 4. Now for shields, we had the Fireworks, but now we have the Hydrowerks. This gives the electrical eel ability. When sliding, launches missiles towards nearby enemies and gains armor at the end of a slide, whereas this gives missiles when you take out targets. So cool. It is a Torg shield here. And here's what it's going to look like. So you go ahead with the slide there. So I press something, you got the rockets flying off. Whee! Whee! This could work well with the light gun, which is a new sniper rifle that was added with the last DLC pack. But you can see here, these rockets don't really do much. So yeah, it's fun. You could build around it because I think these are counted as an indirect projectile. So you could do some cool stuff with certain characters, but I don't think they're even worth building around when you have things like the Watch for Dinner still best in slot. Yeah, this is I like the idea of it. It just doesn't hit that hard to make it worth using over other shields in the game, much like the Fireworks, which is right now one of the best when we look at things like the takedown. So yeah, we're doing sweet nothings to the boss here. So it's a cool one, but not one that you're gonna find much effect from. And you can get yourself a Hydrowerks from Max Supreme. And the final item that we got in this DLC is the Oxidation Repkit. So this will reload a percentage of ammunition equal to the percentage of health that was healed on use. So yeah, you can also get a pretty cool or pretty short cooldown of 7 seconds. It's the lowest possible cooldown on this, and it heals around 6k if you're using the smallest possible heal on it, which gives you that quick cooldown. So yeah, this is a rep kit of all time. So we go ahead here and heal. Oh, you actively have to have no health to be able to get the benefits from it. So there we go, we got some bullets back. Cool, I'll fire them off, and then I'll try to survive until we get our next one here. The tough things about rep kits that only apply when you actually heal your character is the fact that we're gonna be, you know, having a very hard time staying alive during these situations. So getting that ammo back is not gonna be consistent. Yeah, I got taken out even though I healed myself there. Not a very consistent one, but it is an option, I guess, if you wanted to use it. I'll try to pop it again here. I'm waiting on the cooldown. I accidentally used it. Yeah, that is the problem that I have with rep kits that only work on heal, is it doesn't work most of the time. There we go, got some bullets back, cool. But there's so many other better ways to get your ammo back in this game that using a rep kit for it is not the move. And let me know if you'd like to see a tier list of all these weapons, as I typically do with these. But yeah, I'm going to be testing these out with further builds just to see what's possible, some of them. But I just want to give an overview of all these weapons here. There's some interesting new choices. My favorite, though, is the Chaos here. This thing is actually pretty strong of a weapon. But yeah, it seems to be a lot of items that are more so focused on the takedown type content. So if you're a fan of that, this is worth checking out. But yeah, hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you guys all in the next one.